Next slide. See the systematic review we just did two months ago. We did a capacity building on the systematic review, and this can come up even focused only for medical women adaptation. So just to end this presentation, I'd like to take us through the recommendations emanating from this second All-Africa Clinical Trial Summit, which has a direct relevance to the effort we are making to engage pregnant women significantly in this process. And this is specific on setting up clinical trial units. So, clinical trial units, what are they? They are specialized biomedical research units which design, centrally coordinate, and analyze clinical trials and other studies. The key personnel that are needed, please pay attention to this slide. I don't know if that is what is before you. The key personnel needed for clinical trials at the site consists of physicians who can be the director of the site, or if you don't have a building yet, then your site is your institution and you become the PI for that site. So the principal investigator, the head of the team, is a physician. Now the co-PI and co-investigations can be any healthcare provider or biomedical scientist. Other special fields such as pathologists, radiologists, radiation oncologists, multidisciplinary teams are important. Why? Because at the moment, cancer is top in the list. More than 80% of clinical trials are taking place in the cancer states. So the clinical trial manager, a trained research nurse in the clinical trial process, then a pharmacist, CT coordinator, there's a training for that for CT coordinator, there's other research nurses, so you should bring in as many nurses as possible into your team and train them because they are invaluable in the process. In fact, they said that if you do not mobilize nurses into the clinical trial team, you do not want to do clinical trials. And I'm sure some of our physicians who have already done clinical trials will attest to that. So lab technicians, data capturers, consenters, phlebotomists, field workers, and a sound ethical review board in your institution. Now, the infrastructure, I just talked about personnel. The infrastructure is building shared model. What do I mean by that? You don't have a building specific for the clinical trial unit, or you do a shared model where everything that belongs to your institution belongs to your site. You understand what I mean? If there is somebody who already has, due to a program she's running, a -80 freezer, for instance, that is your asset. It belongs to your institution, it is your asset. All the personnel that are there belong to you, so you acquire them. When you're writing your site ability and capability, you include them. So when you're doing that, you include all that is available to you in that site, and then you go and engage them, focusing them, and get them into your team. Now, when you get them into your team, what should you do? Get them to organize their curriculum in NIH form. Why in NIH form? Because NIH is the largest funder of clinical trials apart from industry. So you do that in readiness, because information concerning your site can come like this. Send it tomorrow. Then you start running around trying to get everybody organized. You are organized to the process. Last night, somebody put up an opportunity and said, if you think your site is ready, I just committed all our prepared, documents, and this is that you are truly ready. So this is what we are going to do. We have to get everybody here who is interested to get themselves rolled into this program. your NIH curriculum meter. So you need waiting area, consenting rooms, consulting rooms, diagnostic, phlebotomy, admin office. Can you recognize that these are already in existence in your institutions? Admin office, pharmacy office, admission wards. If it is a center that is dedicated to that, you do not need more than 6 beds in that center. You don't need more than. Then, investigational products, investigation room, drug, medical device, storage, proper temperature monitoring, sites, CTC, laboratory, washrooms, showers, archive room, gated fence, because things have to be safe. Information data have to be safe. Courier, you have to find a local courier, international courier. You can also engage with laboratories that are known to be able to offer huge levels, and we have some of them. The IFEOMA is one of them, the lab there, lab is one of them that is available in the country. They are all available to you. Lab equipment, which is CLP. So barriers, funding, but I've told you that you can leave funding and move around what you already have. Burden of expectation. There is so much expectation that immediately you start doing clinical trial, you are financially empowered. No. But for us who are academicians, the academic empowerment is good enough. You should not be seeking it. And then what we have found with PI, what they complain in Nigeria, is that when they get other physicians into their team, they are always thinking that they are eating money and having them do the work, without realizing that this is not a money-making thing, at least in the initial. Till you have an industry-sponsored trial, there is really no money today. But of course, there is academic empowerment and visibility, global visibility to be achieved. So we need to inadequately train research site, poor leadership structure. We need to have a lot of mentorship, unclear job descriptions, poor patient retention strategies, and I'll leave you perhaps to read the rest, because most of the time I've actually more or less touched on most of them. So the strength of the clinical trial is domicile-based implementation of clinical practice. They say that when you do something on a regular basis, you become a real expert in it. Like driving a car, you sit down and you don't think about how to move your hand or your leg. Okay? So because of it, that's what they do 24/7. They become very proficient in this process. On personal site readiness, preparedness, paired resources, cross-skill. You have a pharmacist. The pharmacist can do the job of the research coordinator. So you cross-skill. You don't wait till you have every personnel. So all you need to do is build capacity, build skills by training. Core research team, clear leadership structures, delegation, well-trained, experienced staff, short approval timelines, clear roles and responsibilities. When you go to your IRP, you go there and do advocacy with them and tell them why it's important for them to be up and running. Not when you give them a proposal, take 3 months to 6 months before they review it and give a result. And also establish a rapport between your site and NAFDA, because that is another place where there is a delay. So you also establish dedicated standard operating procedure that's called SOPs, timeline sensitive HREC, and reliable patient, you have to develop reliable patient recruitment and patient retention implementation strategies. All this will be given. The other slide, I'm now rounding up. So we are convinced that time has come for Africa to take ownership of our health economy. The days of foreign-led and foreign-executed solutions that fails to build and retain capacity in Africa is certainly over, must be over. We have to work hand in hand to make it over. Because the continued low volume of clinical trials in Africa is counterproductive to the vision for a healthy Africa, and we need a healthy Africa. So hands on bodies like Bloomberg, adopt new technologies, and develop capacity to nurture innovation as the only strategy to move Africa off the continental map. Now, what is happening? When our Africans, when they have innovations, they want to do a PGT program, they go abroad. Now, when they go abroad, they don't want to release them back. Here, so we have to develop capacity to retain our postdoctoral students here, people that are innovators, so that this Nobel Prize winning will come from Africa and not an African situated outside of Africa winning a Nobel Prize. So a partnership with African Clinical Trial Consortium can be the vehicle to set the stage to increase the attractiveness of the continent to global clinical trial sponsors. In conclusion, Africa, apart from trying to contend with several financial constraints, is also an unfortunate beneficiary of the triple burden of disease. This huge disease burden will become an asset to Africa as it has to Africa's attractiveness due to potential for fast recruitment of subjects. Clinical trials is a $1.5 trillion industry. It will become the gold of the African continent if properly nurtured and regulated, stringently monitored. Now, I just pause a bit to say something like this now, and that is there's ABAREF. ABAREF is an umbrella organization just like ACTC is trying to use this to increase clinical trial monitoring. What ABAREF did is under the WHO guidance is creating capacity to harmonize clinical trial regulations across the African region so that it's not hostile to clinical trial sponsors when they come in. So if they harmonize clinical trial regulations, frameworks, and timelines, you will find that the clinical trial attractiveness index of Africa will increase. So, empower the healthcare infrastructure, impacts capacity building through skills acquisition, so it's a win-win situation. You're building your skills, you're doing things that you never were able to do. In Enugu recently, just last month, we had a lot of researchers on breast cancer. They came, built the capacity of breast surgeons across Africa. They came there, they were doing real-life surgery. They built capacity of radiation oncologists. They built capacity of radiologists to be engaged in doing intervention procedures in breast. They built capacity of pathologists. In fact, at the end of the 5 days, the pathologists came to me and they said, we are on a new level. So MWAN has to come to a new level again. So it creates jobs, it improves the economy. India, China, Latin America are testing. We intend that SCTC is clinical trial and African trust to be a vehicle for Africa to effect a paradigm shift from being consumer, Africa being consumer, even of data. We do not generate data, we need to begin to generate data and not consume data. To be producers, a chance for Africa's indigenous drug development to gain global relevance. One of the ways that the African Union has identified to meet the sustainable development goal is to have a strong commitment to research, to teaching and promotion of health ethics and bioethics policies in Africa. This is the commitment of ACTC. My big question, as I know, is how would MWAN like to engage with ACTC? How would MWAN partner to leverage ACTC opportunities being offered to the African community?